So you guys already know we are set up for boondocking. We have a full setup with a solar system. We've got 3 panels up here. We originally started with the 3 panels, and they were all the same. But if you've checked out our Friday the 13th video, it explains everything on why we have a separate or different panel. The 2 black ones here are monocrystalline panels, which are 280 watts per panel. And then you got the polycrystalline, which is the bigger one, and that's 320 watts of power that we can bring in from the sun. So we have them tilted up right now, so we can try to capitalize on as much sun as we can right now, because we're unplugged. All right, guys, follow me over here, and we'll see how much juice we have right now in our battery bank. And this is where the magic happens. So we have our charge controller, we have our 2000 watt pure sine wave inverter, we've got our 2 batteries here, which are the lithium iron phosphate batteries by Renogy. Great batteries. And this little gadget here kind of tells us where our batteries are at the moment. Right now we're about a 99% capacity, and tells us how many amps and how many watts we're bringing in. Right now we've got about 2.9 amps that are going out. That's really hooked up to some of the small fans like in the bathroom. That's pulling that power right now. So, but that's just the gist of it, and we'll get in more detail later on down the line.
Yep, and it's 4:05 in the afternoon right now. So this is the time, especially in January in Florida, where the sun starts going down. So, you know, we start to kind of conserve on what we're using. We try not to charge anything. Wait till the morning to do that. You never know what tomorrow's if it's gonna be sunny or not.
It's true, and it's Florida, so you never know what's gonna happen in Florida.
So another thing we wanted to touch on is our tank capacity. This battery is for the battery that it came with. We'll get into that later. Our fresh tank, we're at a third of a tank. The black is showing a third. The gray is showing a third. We have our water pump switch, water heater for gas, water heater for electric. So what that means is that even if we're not plugged into shore power or we don't have enough battery that day, we can just turn our hot water heater on gas. Same thing with the fridge, gas or electric. The water pump that goes on when we're using our freshwater tank, we can keep an eye on where our tanks are at when we need to dump. Since we have the composting toilet, our gray tank is doubled with our black tank because we don't flush the toilet. We don't use a regular toilet, so the black tank isn't used for sewage. Again, we'll get into that later when we go over the composting toilet. Alright, so the battery up front here, this is the battery that it came with. And we do use this occasionally. We have used it whenever I accidentally did not turn the refrigerator off that night and put it on gas. So Ben could use his coffee pot that next morning. There's just a little switch and you switch it, but that's just the little battery that it came with. Really the only thing that battery does right now is it runs the brake lights and the turn signals and that kind of thing. It doesn't, we maintain it, we make sure it stays 100% charged all the time, just in case we need a backup. We also have the 2 propane tanks under this cover, 2 30-gallon propane tanks. Costs us about $14 to fill up each one of them. We don't have to fill them up very often, even with it getting a little bit chilly and having to run the heat and using the refrigerator on them. One tank usually lasts us for about a month. But we have one slide. I'm sure that you could tell on the inside that the dinette was in the slide, so we'll show you from the outside what it looks like. It's a 4-foot slide. It comes out 4 feet. It makes a world of difference. It really opens up the way that it looks inside. When it's closed, it's really hard to walk around. This is the thing. If we had to do it over again, we may think about not doing a slide and doing the dinette differently. And the reason why is because when we go places and having to open up the slide, if we're in a parking lot or something like that, or even a gas station, if I'm going inside to make lunch, it's kind of hard to maneuver in there without having the slide out. Pulling the slide out is just kind of a pain in the butt. But when we're somewhere for a week, 2 weeks, it gives us such an enormous amount of space. It's amazing what 4 feet can do, that we're glad ultimately that we chose this model. That's our new sign, the McMillan Express, as seen on YouTube. So we've got our bikes back here. It's on a bumper mount right in front of our spare tire. It's worked good so far. We've had it since we got it. Carries our bikes fine, no problems. A lot of people told us don't put anything on the bumper, it's not going to hold. The bumper actually has a 100-pound weight limit, and the bikes don't come near to that. So another thing about this model is it did come with the ladder, which makes it really easy to get up there to adjust the solar panels. Alright, so what you're going to see me do now is just put the solar panels down, which is what we need to do every night. That is going to get the rising sun whenever they're flat versus whenever they're up. It's going to get the last bit of the sun before the sun sets. So we pull up these little metal bars, put the pin in, and that holds it up, and we do that on both sides. The bolts go in through the back. There's a hole drilled in the bolt right there. So these panels are pretty big. They're about 40 pounds a piece. So we have a pin, and I just pull the pin out, grab the bolt. Right now I'm just going to actually let this fall down to the ground. On the other side, I'm pulling that pin in the other bolt, let that fall down, and I'm just going to set the solar panel all the way down. So at this point, I have all I'm going to go get all the pins and the bolts off of all of them, and I'm going to do it all at one time. So I'm going to go put the other two down. I have 2 more pins and 2 more bolts. I'm going to put it on the last one. So I just want to point out, we are definitely always this careful. It's not just because the camera's on. We know that this is pretty dangerous being up on the roof as much as we are, but it's the best for getting the sunlight. So this is what we're going to keep doing. So the panels are down and positioned properly, and I showed you how the bolts were positioned in, coming from the inside out to hold it. I'm going to show you how they're positioned to hold it stable and down. So when it's down, it's going from the outside in. Here's the bolt. We put the pin in between the solar panel and this metal bracket. So it can't come up, it can't come down. This bolt cannot come out because the pin's holding it in place. That's on both sides. And then we have these other metal brackets that hold the other metal bars in close to the solar panel so they don't go flying around or hitting the roof or making holes, anything that it shouldn't be doing. It just keeps everything very secure. It's like that on every solar panel. Luckily, the last solar panel that we got was able to fit right into the brackets. This is the thing. This panel is so much bigger. This is the front of our trailer. The panel that got messed up was on the back of our trailer. So what Billy, my brother-in-law, did was take the smaller one from the front, move it to the back, and put the larger one up front so we didn't have to walk around it, because as you can see, there's just not a lot of room to walk around that up there. So we put this solar panel up first, and then that gives us a lot more room to walk around and get underneath that one without having to stand too far behind it.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Ben. As you all may remember, we had a little incident when we went over a low clearance bridge and messed up one of our solar panels. So today's the day where we're actually going to rearrange some panels around. We were fortunate enough to find a panel not too long ago. It's a tad bit longer, but the same width. It's going to give us the same amount of power and wattage that we need to continue to travel. So we're in the process of rearranging the solar panels right now with the help of my awesome brother-in-law, Bill the Thrill.
Say hi, Billy.
Hi. So the bigger solar panel we're going to put up front because it'll be a lot easier to maneuver here in the back. And then the solar panel we had up front, obviously we'll move it to the back. So we'll have our 3 panels here, hopefully by the end of today. So when we originally got this solar system set up, all 3 panels were 280 watts, 24 volts, and they were all monocrystalline. The problem with it is that we only needed 1, and we could only find 1, but you could only get 2 in terms of shipping, if that makes sense. So if you wanted to order 1, you had to get a minimum of 2, and the shipping was like $300. So even if you wanted to get 1, you still had to pay the shipping of $320. So we were fortunate enough to find this one, which is a 320 watt panel, polycrystalline. Is that correct, Billy? Yes. And this is 24 watts as well. And when we had the 3 panels set up, they were running in a parallel. Now that this bigger one is a little different in specs, he is going to run this in series. Parallel. Oh, parallel. So we had it in series before. Okay, now we're going to run it in parallel. So we're not going to be able to get the full 320 out of it because the other 2 are 280, but we will be able to get the 280 watts out of it since it's going to be in parallel with the other 2. So it's pretty exciting. It is a bit bigger, but I'm just very happy that we've got another panel to bring us some more juice for our batteries. Correction.
You get 320 watts out of this panel, and you'll get 280 watts out of each one of those. Because of the way I'm wiring it.
I stand corrected. Well, that's why Billy's here. All right, so the way it was done before was 280 watts per panel.
Ran in series.
Ran in series.
You know, so 20. It's you add them up. 24, 48. Nominals, I think 115 volts. So now it'll actually be 24 volts at there, the higher wattage.
So will that charge the batteries a little quicker?
Same, about the same.
About the
Maybe
same?
a little bit more, but not much.
Okay.
I mean, you're only talking. These are more efficient in this broad daylight. Those are more efficient in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Overcast.
Okay.
So this way, those will still produce more when it's overcast, but this will produce more when it's bright out. Clear skies.
Sounds good to me. How's it look, babe?
Looks like we have 3 solar panels again, which is really exciting.
A little mix match, but who cares, right?
Who cares?
They look good from down there, right?
Oh yeah. It doesn't even look that much different from down here. Are you doing the hula dance again?
Doing my happy dance, the Carlton.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
You know the Carl. Carl will know.
I think that Billy should do the Carl.
You want to throw up some tools?
Yeah, throw up some tools.